It started with the kind of sound you don't want to hear in the middle of the night, a soft thump, just loud enough to yank you from a decent dream. I figured it was a raccoon again, digging for treasure in my garbage cans, so I rolled over and tried to ignore it. Next morning, though, my mailbox was sprawled across the yard like it had been in a bar, fight post bent, metal twisted, hanging by one rusty bolt, the whole thing looking sad and vaguely embarrassed. Honestly, I thought maybe a delivery driver had misjudged the curb or something, shrugged it off, hammered it back in, and got on with my day. But then, 2 days later, bam. Same story, but worse. This time a whole post was ripped out, roots and all, like someone backed over it on purpose. That's when I knew this wasn't just bad luck. This was the opening shot in some weird suburban war I didn't know I'd signed up for. So, I started keeping an eye out. And every couple nights like clockwork poor mailbox got flattened again. Sometimes there were deep tire marks curving up onto my lawn. Other times it looked like someone had just plowed through with zero hesitation. I'd rebuild, repaint, try to make it look halfway decent, and every single time, it got trashed within 48 hours. I'll admit, at first I thought maybe I was overreacting, maybe some kids messing around, or maybe a neighbor who just had it out for my mail. But then it just kept happening. I even tried staying up one night, flashlight in one hand, bag of jerky in the other, like some kind of wildlife hunter on the prowl. But whoever was doing this had the timing of a cat burglar striking only when I was asleep or distracted. I asked my neighbors, but all I got was speculation. One heard a loud engine revving at 2 a.m. Another thought he'd seen a gray SUV hanging around near my driveway. But let's be honest, half the people on our street drive gray SUVs. Pretty soon, I was starting to feel like I was losing my mind. I filed a complaint with the HOA, a big mistake. They said they'd look into it, which, as I'm sure you know, is code for we're going to do absolutely nothing. So I tried to get creative. I mounted a fake plastic owl on top of my mailbox just to see if that'd scare off the vandals. Next morning, the owl was lying face down in the grass, beak dented, like it had tried to stand up on my mailbox and got flattened too. That was about my breaking point. At this stage, whoever was doing this wasn't just being reckless, they were enjoying it. I grabbed a clipboard, stapled pictures of my mailbox carnage all over it, and marched straight to the HOA office like I was about to deliver a murder investigation. And who do I find sitting behind the desk but Karen, the undisputed empress of neighborhood drama? She flashed me a smile sharp enough to cut glass. One of those, I'm about to ruin your day and enjoy every minute of it grins. I told her what was happening, handed over the photos, and waited for her to actually do something. She blinked at me like she'd never heard of a mailbox before. "Oh, your mailbox," she said, drawing out every syllable like I was asking for the moon. You know, these older posts snap pretty easily. Could have been the wind. I just stared at her. Wind strong enough to leave tire tracks? Please. She gave me the usual HOA script, look into it. But while I was there, she suggested I make sure my mailbox was HOA compliant, or else I might get fined for not following the rules. Yeah, that happened. My mailbox gets flattened, and now I'm the problem. Anyway, I patched up the box again. New post, new paint, reflective tape went above and beyond, just to avoid any more compliance issues. I even buried it deeper and braced it tighter than before. For a few days, nothing happened. I thought maybe Karen had finally taken action. Maybe I'd get a break. I even saw her jogging past my house one morning, decked out in this blinding pink tracksuit, looked like she'd robbed a cotton candy store. She nodded at me, gave me that same dead-eyed smile, and I thought, okay, maybe this whole thing's over. Spoiler, it wasn't. That Sunday morning, I was at my window, coffee in hand, socks on, not a hint of patience left. I see Karen's gray SUV crawling up the road, real slow. She pulls up right by my yard, scans the area, and, with no hesitation, slams the gas. She mows down my brand new mailbox like she's auditioning for Fast and Furious, HOA edition. I watched in total disbelief as she reversed, rolled over it again for good measure, and then casually parked like nothing had happened. No shame, no hiding, just pure, I run this place and you can't stop me, energy. I rushed outside, mug still in hand, and yelled, "Karen, what the hell was that?" She got out of her car, visor pulled low, acting like she'd just shown up for brunch. "Oh, that? I didn't see it." Your mailbox must have jumped out in front of me. I pointed out that it had been there for 5 years, but she just waved it off. It doesn't even match the HOA-approved color scheme. Supposed to be antique bronze, not whatever sad shade you've got going on. The kicker? Her SUV was exactly the same color. I snapped. You mean like your car? She blinked, clearly offended, and hit me with, "It's not my fault your mailbox isn't up to standard. Technically, I could fine you right now." That was it. I realized she wasn't careless, she was on a power trip, convinced she could do whatever she wanted because she wore that stupid HOA badge. But if she thought I was going to back down, she had another thing coming. That night, I decided I wasn't calling the cops, wasn't filing another complaint, I was handling this myself. I spent the entire weekend rebuilding the mailbox, except this time, it was a fortress. Steel lining inside, welded to a concrete base buried deeper than most tree roots. On the outside, it looked normal, same hated gray paint, just a twist the knife, but underneath, it was ready for battle. I hid a camera and a fake squirrel on top, motion sensor and all. My plan was set. A couple days later, I'm back at my window, coffee in hand, slippers on, watching for the show. Right on cue, Karen's gray SUV rolls up. She guns it again, but this time, instead of splinters, there's a crunch. Her bumper folds in half. The hood crumples, airbag explodes in her face. The mailbox doesn't budge. I nearly spit out my coffee. Karen stumbles out, hair wild, face red, looking like she just got into a fist fight with the laws of physics. She stares at the mailbox, rubs her forehead, totally lost. I walk out, phone already playing the security footage. "Might want to get that looked at, Karen," I say, barely hiding my smirk. Funny how the mailbox didn't come out of nowhere this time. She turned tomato red, threatening to report me for creating a safety hazard. I laugh. "Go ahead. How about the footage? Want me to email it to your insurance?" She glared, then climbed back into her half-wrecked car and peeled off down the street, dignity dragging behind her. My mailbox? Still standing, not even a scratch built like justice. The footage got a standing ovation at the next neighborhood meeting. Yeah, I brought popcorn. So here's my question for you. Did Karen get what she deserved, or did I go too far? Let me know in the comments. Where do you draw the line between standing up for yourself and starting World War III over a mailbox?